They say you can't go home again, but you can. And I've been gone almost 60 years. We moved when I was 14 in 1955 to the mainland. And I went to school in the mainland and worked in the mainland, with the exception of 2 years in the Peace Corps out in Saipan in Micronesia. Other than that, I did college in California and law school in Washington, D.C. And I worked as a Postal Service executive until I retired 17 years ago. I have two sons. One is in New Hampshire and one is in Seattle, Washington. And I have one grandson who's just a little over a year old. And I am back in Hawaii for good. I'm not leaving here except in a box. My dad and my mother came over here in the mid-30s from the Midwest. They were both from farm families. They both had college degrees. And they came over here as contract teachers at Mid-Pacific Institute in Honolulu. And we've never quite figured out how a Midwestern, particularly my mother, a woman of young age, would come to a place like Hawaii in the 1930s to teach. She came with a classmate from high school, but the two of them taught at Mid-Pacific for a couple of years. They met there, although I found the manifest of the ship that they came on, and they were both on the same ship, but they never said they met each other on that ship. Anyway, they met at Mid-Pacific. They got married in Honolulu in '38, I believe. My dad was working on his master's, and he was a science teacher and a phys ed teacher. And his master's thesis was that the sugarcane workers, particularly the men, the young men, needed some kind of activity to keep them occupied, other than gambling and the other assorted vices of the time. So he wrote a thesis suggesting that they set up a league of baseball teams for the Hamakua Coast plantations and the camps. So like at Hilo Sugar, they had Hilo Sugar Camp 1, Wainaka Camp 2, Amaulu Camp, Kaiviki Camp, and then Onamea Sugar and Onamu and Hakalau. I think those are the five. I'm not sure about Waikea. At that point, Andrew Spalding was manager of the Pepakeo Sugar Company, and he somehow got a hold of this thesis and offered my dad a job to set this up. And I have a copy of the letter. I have the original of the letter, signed by E.T. Spalding, offering him this job at some ridiculously low wage. But for us, you know, now that's still late Depression, with a house and with a car and a chance to set up baseball teams, softball teams. I'm not sure exactly which one it was. I think it's baseball. Anyway, baseball was a big thing back then with the kids. Babe Ruth had been here, planted one of the trees on Banyan Drive, so people knew baseball and they followed it, and particularly the Asiatics were big fans of baseball. So he went around and set up, at A.T. Spalding's request, baseball teams in each one of the worker camps. And they had a schedule, and they played usually on Sundays. I remember that. And it was a big success.